It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Breakfast, talking your property news as we do 7 days a week. And you can hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts and Amazon. And it's a Friday. We got through the week pretty quick. It is the 6th day of December, just 22 days until Christmas, and it is busy out there in the shops. Are you noticing, like I am, plenty of people seem to be buying, which is great for the retailers who need all the help that they can get, especially the smaller businesses that have been hanging on until right now. And a special shout out if you have managed to hold on with your business going into 2025. Many smaller businesses unfortunately have folded around the country, and some, as a consequence to that, have also lost their home. It's going to be another busy weekend coming up, one gets the feeling, during the 2024 year. We've also been looking in on another property market in the world, and that is so interesting to find out about because it is so different to the Australian housing market. Why? Because it's a little bit of a one-off, and the man who is a talking advertisement for Dubai and the UAE is Mario Volpi. You've heard him before if you're a long-time listener of the podcast. He has over 40 years of real estate experience and is regarded as one of the gurus in the Dubai property market there. So a very good morning and welcome back, Mario, to the Real Estate Breakfast as we start to look ahead for the 2025 year.
Good morning, Craig, and good morning to all the Australian listeners. It's great to be here.
And you are from the UK, where Dubai, if you compare it to London, it's also very different, just as the same it is for Australia. Perhaps maybe just step over what the mindset is for people when they get into the market, into the UAE, some of the differences for our Australian audience to sort of work out the differences between the two markets.
Well, yeah, thanks, Craig. I mean, there are many differences. The Dubai property market has gone through a very transitional period in the last sort of 22 years, because actually 22 years is only the time that there has been a real estate market. 2002 is when it opened up to foreign investment. And since then, we've had law changes, we've had legislations and improvements to the system, which protects the investor. And so now anybody coming to Dubai buying real estate is going to be safe in the knowledge that they've got a solid investment. Now, ever since COVID has come and gone, we have actually come out of that pandemic with our heads held high. And as a result, have actually attracted many different investors, especially the high net worth investors who are attracted to the safety, to the ease of doing business here, to the weather. Obviously, it can be a little bit brutal in the summer, but during the winter, it's amazing like it is now. They've decided that they're leaving all their troubles behind, whether they're in Europe, whether they're in America or any other parts of the world, and they're setting up businesses here. And as a consequence, the population is growing and the real estate market is also going great guns. And this has been happening literally since 2021. Every year that's passed, we've improved. So 22 was better than 21, 23 was better than 22. And this year we've seen stellar returns for our property market. The investment level is bringing a lot of eyes to Dubai. We are inundated with lots and lots of buyers.
So we talk about, the markets being different. I think, and we've mentioned this before, one of the key things about Dubai, without a doubt, is the level of speed that you've got to negotiate. Now, in Australia, people have got time, far more time, it would be said, than Dubai. So that is something that people certainly have got to get their head around, don't they?
That's right, Craig. But I need to just clarify that we're talking about the off-plan market. When you're talking about the secondary market, there is time. I mean, we can be fast there as well, but you do have time to think and obviously get your finances in order. When you're talking about off-plan and you go to these project launches, if you're not ready to make that decision, literally by the time you actually get to the desk, then you're going to miss out. So I'll give you a brief example. We had a project launch which sticks in my mind because we queued, we brought in the client, he sat down, we showed him the plans, we said, right, you can either go for this, this and this, and he was procrastinating, he was umming and ahhing, he wasn't sure, he wanted to go for it, but then all of a sudden he said, no, I need a cigarette, I need to just calm down, just give me a minute. So he left the room with my agent, they got into the lift because this was being held in an apartment block, which was on the 44th floor. They got into the lift, they came all the way down, the lift door opened on the ground floor. And by that time, he said, do you know what? I'm just going to go for it. They got back into the lift, went back upstairs. And by the time they went back into the room, those units, should I say, had already been snapped up. And he was absolutely livid. He was obviously he was livid with himself, but he was more frustrated with the market. Now, I'm not going to say this is an isolated case because that was one that sticks in my mind of how rapid it was. We've had other situations where people, say, let me think about it, and they come back 1 or 2 days later. And unfortunately, the unit has gone. And so all I would say to anybody, if you are not ready to pull the trigger at the launch, then to be honest with you, you're probably not ready to buy the off-plan market here in Dubai because it is so fast-paced.
I guess that is very frustrating for somebody like you that has seen this, unfortunately, unravel so many times, and you're prepping your clients and you're already giving them the heads up in terms of, look, we're going to have to be reasonably fast here because it is a property development that has got a lot of interest. Yet they still decide to go down, have a cigarette, and as you said, okay, and they're in that elevator, you're probably seeing other people maneuver and going, okay, this is probably not going to be available when they get back.
It's super frustrating as a real estate agent because you're right. You do prep, you do prepare, you show them everything, and sometimes you can get the buyer right there, and then the inventory isn't there as well, and then the buyer thinks that you don't have the control. Look, it's human nature. I'm not blaming anybody. I would probably be doing exactly the same thing. It's a big decision. There's a lot of money involved potentially, and people have to ensure they're doing the right thing. But one thing is for sure, once that buyer has lost out, boy, are they ready. I mean, you've got yourself a very good buyer now because the minute something else comes on, they will go for it, albeit they might have to spend a little bit more money because by that time, the other project or the other unit is a little bit more money than the original one.
Now, if you have a look at the 2024 year for Dubai, it really does look like it's a bit of a honeypot because you've got people from the US, from Australia, from the UK, from Russia. All corners of the globe are being attracted to the Dubai property market. And 2025, it looks like, because I saw some numbers recently that was talking about units and new developments that are going to be coming online next year in 2025. It's a massive, massive number, and you're not going to be able to sell any of that stock unless your migration is operating at the level that it is right now.
Well, that's absolutely right. And the way the population is actually growing, it's going to be steady as she goes, probably until 2025. So you're right. At the moment, we're handing over between 30 and 40,000 units every year. But soon, probably a little bit later than 2025, to be fair, that number could go as high as 180,000 units. Now, when that happens, it'll be the rents that will start to soften first. But honestly, Craig, I don't think we're going to see that until probably 2027 at the earliest. So Dubai still has at least, I believe, another 2 years worth of growth in terms of house price inflation. After that, Who knows? But you've got to remember that all these projects that are handing over, they've all been bought anyway at the launch. So the initial softening of prices potentially will only be from rents, and then sales might follow suit a little bit, but it's only going to be a stability. We're not going to see a crash like we had in 2008, 2009, purely and simply because the fundamentals are there and we do have that population growth. And as long as that carries on, we'll still be in positive territory.
And having a look at the on-sale market for off-plan, yes, everybody is into this at different degrees around the world, but the Dubai property real estate market, when it comes to buying off-plan and then selling something before the final handover, there are people that are transacting all the time, and I think some people are actually, in terms of portfolio, where that's all they do. They just buy off the plan and they resell before handover.
Yeah, it's called the flipping market. Actually, beforehand, Dubai suffered from that because literally people were queuing up to actually buy a property, but they're not necessarily buying a property. They're just buying the right to buy a property, and they only would have put down a minimal amount of money, say 5%, and then, of course, went to try and sell it straight away. Now, the government here stepped in and actually put laws in place that if you do buy a property, you cannot start to sell it again to the second person until a minimum of either 30, 40, and in some cases 50% of that purchase has been made. So this has definitely cooled the market, but you're right, there are still people that come, they buy with the intention of getting to that 30, 40% payment and then sell it on. Now, because often these things do sell out, there is a demand for it. And despite the fact that maybe not one brick has actually been put into the ground or it started at all, there is still that demand. And so if you sell it on what we call the secondary market, albeit it's an off-plan property, there's still people who actually will want to go for it. And price-wise, just to give you an idea, anybody that bought around 2021, 2022, if they're selling now, they will have doubled their money. So they'll get their investment back plus the same amount of investment that they put in. So no wonder people want to do it. But of course, make hay whilst the sun shines. Nobody ever really knows what's going to happen. But right now, as I say, the fundamentals are there. And so the market continues unabated.
A quick question just before I let you go. Since Trump won the general election, of course, a lot of people in the US are saying that they're going to move out. Jimmy Fallon, you haven't heard from him, have you, wanting to move to Dubai?
No, I haven't, unfortunately. Look, there are lots of people who are, for want of a better word, running away from either their troubles or literally how things have become. And it's not just an American issue, the UK as well, Europe. When you look at immigration, that's a big talking point. And the way that we do it here is totally different to the way they do it in Europe and, of course, in America. But now with Trump coming in, that's going to tighten up. So there's lots of people considering their options. So I think 2025, there'll be a lot more migration of people moving all around the world. And of course, they're looking at what's best for them. And if you're looking for a safe environment, if you're looking for a happy environment where you can literally bring up a family, where the school is great, where the healthcare is great, the weather's fantastic, and as I say, the ease of doing business, you can't really look much further than Dubai. I'm sure there's one or two other areas, but if nothing else, come have a holiday here, see what it's like. And if you like it, do like many, many others, myself included, pack up your bags and come over and start your life in Dubai.
I knew that we were going to end on a great advertisement for Dubai and the UAE. Mario, enjoy your day. Thank you so much for all of that information. And you've been a great contributor there in Dubai, keeping us updated on what is going on. And thank you for coming back onto the Real Estate Breakfast this morning.
It's my pleasure, Craig, and best wishes to all the listeners. Thank you.
We help to break down real estate every day to help you better understand the Australian property market. We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.